So you join us today on a quick overnight session that we're having here on Albans Lakes, down in St Albans. It's a catfishing session with any luck. Hopefully we'll catch a few decent fish for you. Obviously catfish, one of the hardest, or actually without doubt the hardest fighting British freshwater predatory species. Superb fish to fish for this time of year. Obviously a lot of pike anglers are pulling off waters, well, long since water temperatures becoming too high. Cats absolutely thrive in these high temperatures, which is proven by the likes of the River Ebro and the Po over in Spain and Italy. Absolutely thrive in high temperatures. So yeah, with any luck, we'll catch a few fish. I'm going to talk you through a few of my go-to rigs and what the rigs we're using, baits we're using here today. So yeah, and also with any luck we'll show you a few fish. Back out on the water again today, back after the cats, as you can probably tell by the extreme sunshine that we've got going on at the minute. I'd just like to talk you through some of my go-to rigs for catfishing. So the first rig we're looking at here is a simple bottom bait rig, and essentially it's just a running lead, rather large lead, 5 ounce lead minimum, with a ceramic ring on the top there. One key feature there, we've got a metre or a metre plus of sinking rig tube. Obviously the sinking element keeps it all pinned down to the bottom, but the most important feature of that is it actually protects the cat from your braid, which under extreme circumstances can act like a bit of a cheese wire. So would never ever fish braid for cats without having at least a metre of tubing on there. Obviously fish care is paramount. So a very large run ring, large rubber bead there, to a long 18-inch to 2 foot hook link. This one's near 18-inch. We're currently fishing 100-pound Kevlar hook link, extremely abrasion resistant, protects, prevents any abrasion from the cat's pads, and that's tied off to a 2.0 extremely strong catfish hook. Another key feature there, swivel. Often gets overlooked. Over the years I've broken a number of swivels, so we're not taking any chances there. That's a 130-pound, I think it's a size 1.0 swivel, so it is very, very large. But honestly, if anything's going to fail, more often than not, I find your swivel's going to give out. So yeah, nice strong swivel, nice strong abrasion resistant hook link, and a running rig. We're going to fish this today, fishing luncheon meat. And quite interestingly, I fish my meat probably different to a lot of people. On the back of my hook there, I've got a little fast attached swivel, and I'll show you now how I attach my luncheon meat to that. Obviously, cats having a very large mouth and a very large appetite, we're using rather large bait. That's pretty close to half a tin of Spam there. And I choose Spam particularly because it's extremely rubbery, very tough bait. It's a bait that you can leave on all night. You've got every confidence that that's going to be there in the morning, even with a lot of nuisance fish. And what I'm mounting it on is a variation of a very, very old catfishing rig. I've basically taken the button rig and modified it. So we have effectively a button, which obviously prevents that being pulled through the meat, a length of rig tubing, and a little stainless ring on the end there. And what you can also notice, I've got a small foam disc there, which just counterbalances the weight of the hook, offsets the weight of the hook a little bit. Alright, let's throw it on the floor. Slide your meat onto the button rig. It's quite simply a matter of taking your fast attached clip, snapping it in place, and there's your hook bait rig ready to go. And in this instance we're going to put this out in a bait boat. I've basically taken another large tin of meat, chopped that up, and that's going to go out in the bait boat with our hook bait as free offering. Just going to have a little chat with you now regarding the new Agitator cat rods, CRC and CRD. We've got two handle configurations in the range. We've got the cork and we've got the Duplon versions. Obviously I think the cork are going to be extremely popular. They do look amazing. I'll basically just talk about some of the features. So these are specifically designed for catfishing, almost in the UK style. Basically rods on bite arms, very similar to how a lot of the carp anglers approach the sport, but obviously in no way a carp rod. This is the lightest rod in the range. It's the 11-foot 4-pound test curve. It's extremely strong. It's got a lovely through parabolic action, completely unlike a carp rod. It's literally designed for soaking up the lunges of very, very powerful fish, such as the catfish. You'll notice the handle is actually a lot shorter, and the reason behind that, if you've ever had a catfish, you'll know it's extremely difficult to play a big fish from your elbow. So what you find is the butt section will be in your groin, and you'll be two-handed hauling on it, which is where this long foregrip comes in. Extremely strong reel seat. Will fit the largest reels on the market. There's probably not a reel on there that you'll struggle to fit in there. And then further up the rod, we've got anti-frap style SIC guides throughout. Obviously a lot of guys using braid these days, and yeah, SICs are a must. So this is the 11-foot. We do a 10-foot 4.5, which is an absolute beast of a rod. Absolutely fantastic for when you're fishing for fish, you know, up to that magical 100-pound mark and beyond. I generally don't think there's a fish in the UK that those fish won't land. So the 4-pound one, great for where we are today, which is quite a wide open water. We haven't got many snags. The average size of the fish is a lot smaller. Sort of maximum size of fish we're probably looking at maybe 50-pound. The 4-pound test curve rod's ideal for that. Anything bigger, we go with the 4.5. And we've also got a 12-foot version, which is 12-foot 4.5, which is just ideal for anybody that likes the longer rod. Personally, the shorter lengths, the way to go for me. So there we are, the Agitator CRC catfish rods. Right, so I'm going to show you another one of my go-to rigs. I showed you my bottom bait one previously. What we're looking at here is basically a standard polyball rig. I'll go through the mechanics of that and how you fish it and how I assemble it. Again, as is in my opinion essential, we've got a metre there, a metre plus of rig tubing, which again protects the fish as much as anything else, prevents it coming into contact with your braid. My lead arrangement is slightly different here. What you'll notice, we've got a floating ledger stem, which is almost like a short paternoster boom with an EVA ball there, and what that does is your lead sits on the bottom, that EVA ball pops that up and allows your line to travel freely through that ring without getting fouled on any weed or any debris on the bottom. Obviously catfish are extremely prone to feeling resistance, so all of these rigs I'm showing you are free running, and this just aids a little bit better with that. You can fish a bottom bait rig on a fledger stem like that, but you do have to be aware that your line is going to be up off the bottom. So if you're fishing for very wary, line shy fish, sometimes it can really pay to remove that polyball, shorten that stem up to almost nothing, and try and keep things pinned down. Very large bead on there, and one of the main key differences here, rather than having the Kevlar hook link, we've got a very thick, very strong monofilament hook link. That's a 70-pound breaking strain monofilament. And the reason it's so heavy, it's purely for the abrasion resistance, so it doesn't wear through on the pads marrows. That terminates in, I believe that's a 4.0 cat hook. Very sharp, very, very strong hook. But the key feature at this end, as you'll see, we've got our polyball. Now I attach my hook with a knotless knot, and the polyball is effectively tied onto what would be a hair rig if you've ever tied a carp rig. So there's a very, very long hair with your polyball, and a length of silicone tube in there which acts as a boom and keeps your bait away from your main line. Now you can fish numerous baits on this. Worms fish quite well on it, but predominantly I use this for live bait fishing. It's absolutely superb. So your polyball sits up and your live bait will be working against the weight of that polyball. Another key feature of this, because it's free running, you can fish this rig at any depth. You can wind it down tight so your fledger sits on your bead and you're fishing your live bait, in this instance 18 inches off the bottom, or you can pay out line. Again, if you're into your carp fishing, very similar to an adjustable zig rig, but you can pop that right up to the surface and be fishing, I don't know, 10 inches beneath the surface. It's a common misconception that a lot of people have that catfish bottom feeding fish. They're not. They will feed off the bottom, but they are predominantly a predatory species, and they will hit a live bait anywhere in the water column. If you're fishing multiple rods with this rig on, it always pays to fish them at different depths until you find where the fish are feeding. And another key feature is possibly the weight of your polyball. The bigger your polyball, the harder your bait has to work, so you can keep the bait more sort of static within a tighter area, almost in the sort of space of a dinner plate. Slightly smaller polyball allows that bait to work a bigger area. Quite often bigger polyballs will tire your bait out quicker as well, so that's a good compromise. Not too big, not too small. What you can probably hear, that's a rattling poly, especially in coloured water like we're fishing here. Added vibration from that coupled with a live bait can be absolutely deadly. So right, let's get a bait on this and get some rods out in the water, and hopefully with any luck we might catch a few fish. Fingers crossed. Well, there you go, an hour in the dark. A nice quick bite and a nice fish. Probably an upper 20. Put up a hell of a scrap. Real good fighting fish. Really nice. Beautiful fish. Well, hopefully that's just one of many more to come tonight. Still got plenty of time. Hopefully we can manage a big one.